Okay, when you first download the game, and I bought my copy through Steam, this is the screen that you will see. The one thing that will be different is that the profile section will give you a pop-up, because the first thing you need to do before you really get into things is to create a profile. So you can click on that there and you could just create your own profile. I have two different ones here because Stardust is one I've been playing on, and Jessie is the one I'm going to use today to create a brand new everything. Okay, so that would be the first thing that you would do. Then the next thing you want to do is actually do your character creation, and you do that by clicking the story button. You'll be asked to choose single player or multiplayer, or to load a campaign. Now this is a little bit more advanced. This is for somebody who's going to be like basically a dungeon master and creating an actual campaign in the game, which is something super cool that you can do in Divinity Original Sin 2, is actually create campaigns for you and your friends to play. So we're going to do just the single player mode, and then we get to choose our difficulty. So they go in increasing order. Explorer is your favoring story over battle difficulty. Classic mode is more balanced. Tactician mode is more difficult, like more challenging to actually do damage in your battles and things like that. And then honor mode is tactician mode plus it's a permadeath sort of gameplay, or a mortal, hardcore. Those are all different words for the same thing, which means that basically if your party wipes, it's over, like game over, and you have to roll new characters and everything. It just like quits you. So I think that's super fun, and I enjoy that mode of play. But maybe not in this game the very first time I'm trying it. So I'm going to do Explorer mode. Divinity Original Sin 2 is it's an RPG. And so what that means is that you are playing as a character, which of course you're always playing as a character when you play a video game, but you are really playing as a character. You have a big backstory. You are making decisions. Decisions are going to affect your outcome in every possible way, both the short term and the long term. And that's the real, like, the beauty of the game. And what it does, and what drew me to this game, is that it's actually based around classic tabletop RPGs such as Dungeons and Dragons. Okay, I've never played Dungeons and Dragons before. I know, how can I even call myself a nerd? I'm getting into it. It's gonna happen soon. But I have been playing a Star Wars Saga Edition RPG and loving it. And I like the sort of the way it's structured and the way attributes are given, and you have to, you know, you can take a little bit more in one attribute, but that means you have less in another attribute. You have to specialize. You know, really customize your character and how they're going to play the game, what they'll be good at, what they'll be bad at, what their chance of success on any type of mission is. So while this game does not include the classic rolling of the dice mechanic, you won't see dice rolling across a tabletop in this game. It's very much built on that same system. So and in that same way, as I was mentioning earlier, there's actually a Dungeon Master mode where a game master, a player, can create an in-game campaigns. So I don't know, I just think there's a lot of opportunity to be really creative and really enjoy the role play here. All right, so we're going to go ahead and begin with our character creation. Something about this game also is that it's not really heavy on the tutorials. You will see some basic tooltips as you encounter things for the first time, but for example, learning how to create a character, I kind of had to figure that out by clicking stuff until I figured it out. So I definitely recommend that you're going to set aside a good deal of time when you first open this game and as you're playing it to really gain familiarity for what the different things do. And sometimes it's just going to be trial and error. You won't really find a help section where you can click on things and get detailed information. There is a wiki, but it's helpful, but again, not designed for like the absolute noob in the woods, first time ever playing this type of game person. It's going to assume some knowledge. So hopefully we'll fill in some of those gaps here. All right, so this game has an incredible variety of character types that you can create. If you look across the top toolbar here, we'll see the words origin, appearance, preset, talents, tags, and instruments. Okay, so determining your character origin, over here on the right hand side, you'll see it almost looks like a card. This is where we're going to be able to go through and look at the different types of characters. Now you'll see there's a tooltip on my screen right now, this green box here in the middle of the screen. You'll see a few of these, as I say, when you very first create your first character in the game. So I recommend you don't just like X out of those, because if you do, you might regret it, because there are very few little tidbits of information you're going to get. Also, if you're prone to forgetting things or you're not going to be playing constantly, you might want to even jot down some of the shortcuts and things that you learn so that you can refer back to them later. Okay, so this one just tells us where we are, the character creation screen, and this is important. It says you can select an origin character or create a custom hero. So really quick on this, there are two types of basic characters that you can start with. You can either have an origin character, which has already had a big backstory sort of written for that character. It already has some preset attributes and ways of looking at the world. And it has additional dialogue options as you go through the game, some specific missions that are tailored just for that character. So that might be a good idea to start with a character from the origin set before doing a custom character. Now the custom hero is one that you build from the ground up. You're going to pick everything about that character, the species, the class, like all of the talents, the tags, which we'll get to in a few minutes. Everything about that character will be totally custom, which sounds super awesome, but you're going to miss out on some of that tailored material that's been written just for these origin characters. So keeping that in mind, I am going to choose an origin character. You should also know that you can customize the appearance of your origin character. Like, you don't have to have the same hair and skin tone and all of that. So there is some customization. You just can't get like into the different species and all of those really fine customizations. So let's do that. So I'm not going to tick the box that says only show tutorials about new features, because I want to see every tutorial they give me, and believe me, you'll see it's not that many. But we can click understood and we can move on. Okay, so the first character, and I'm not going to go through all of these in massive detail, although you can find guides like the character creation guides that will show you and go into sort of the benefits of each character class and talents and stuff. That's not really my expertise, or you know, like we'd be here also all day. So this one is a custom dwarf. So again, custom means there's no backstory written for this one. So let's just go all through these really quick. So if you hover here, you'll see these are arrows. It might take you a few minutes sometimes, you know, like going through, oh yeah, okay, I can click this, I can turn it into a guy, I click this, make it into a woman. You know, this makes me go forward. Oops, go back like that. Yes, I'm back on the dwarf. Now I can look at the different classes down here. There are something like 16 classes. We Battlemage, Cleric, Conjurer, Enchanter, Fighter, Inquisitor, Knight, Metamorph, Ranger, Rogue, Shadowblade, Wayfarer, Witch, Wizard, and yeah, and that's it. So I recommend that if you're going to do a custom character, you really look at the classes and what those do, and lots of YouTube and like print articles that you can look at for that. But we're just going to move on and go and look through the different origins. So we looked at dwarf. The next one is elf, and it tells you sort of like what cool things they do. Like the elf can eat body parts to access memories of the dead, which is kind of grossly cool. custom human, and again, you know, it can be a male or female. Custom lizard. I like the lizards in this game, which is unusual. I don't usually like the lizards, but you know, and then they have the talent of being able to breathe flames in a cone, leaving fire surface behind. Sort of go off on a small tangent. Something that you'll see covered in a lot of the videos is all the great elemental effects that you can do in this game. And there's amazing things like lighting oil on fire, making people wet by making it rain and then electrocuting them, stuff like that. So lots of things you can do with ice, everything. So very cool elements. All right, so that was the lizard. There's undead dwarves, undead elf, undead human, undead lizard. The thing about undeads that you need to know is that they have some really cool things that they can do, but basically up is down and and day is night with the undead. A healing potion will actually harm an undead player, whereas a poison can actually heal them. So while that's kind of cool, it may be a bit challenging when you're already kind of new in a game and learning the mechanics to have everything sort of be topsy-turvy like that. So for myself, although I'm intrigued to maybe someday play an undead character, I'm not going to do that right out of the gate. It also, if you're going to be playing with a party of other players and they're newer, that might be hard for them, especially like if they're the healer and then they put a healing cast over, you know, the group and, you know, they kill you. So just something to keep in mind from, again, this is from watching videos and reading. I don't have these experiences myself. I'm just trying to introduce the concepts to us all. All right. So now we're into origin characters, and there's a tooltip here that tells you exactly what I said before, which is that they have background stories, and they really allow you to get the full extent of the tag system. And the tag system is basically the way that the world interacts with your player, with your character. The tags are going to make the world see you a certain way and thereby respond to you in a certain way. Now, while you get to choose tags as a custom character, having the origin things actually gives you a little bit more of that, as I was saying before. So for the origin, we have I think it's like 5 different choices. Basically the same species that we had seen, only in custom versions, or excuse me, origin versions. So this dwarf here, his first name, his name is Beast. That confused me the first time I looked at it. I thought Beast was like, you know, a creature, but that's actually his name. So it's, I don't know if it's like Mr. Beast, but anyway, that's Beast, and he's an elf. So it has, see how this one has like a little story here, and it says your failed rebellion against the queen nearly destroyed you, so you began a new life on the high seas. Sorry, now your old enemy is back. If you don't stop her, no one will. Okay. Next one, Fane. Now you'll notice by looking at Fane that he's undead. It says you woke up and your world was gone. His talent, if you look down here, is he's undead. Remember what I said about undead before? That could have an effect on your gameplay. So I'm not going to be playing Fane for that reason. Our next one is this human, Ifan Ben Mazed. Well, that's what I'm going to pronounce it as. He comes preset as a battle mage, and he is he's a lone wolf mercenary, and he has like a personal mission here to kill Lucian's son. And then we get this human female, Losa. She is a musician, performer, star, and host to all manner of disembodied visitors. Now one dark voice has silenced them all and aims to claim your body for itself. So this is basically the voices are trying to take over. She's ingenious and thrifty, and she has the ability to encourage allies around her and sing a maddening song. Okay, so those are special attributes that she has because she's her. She's built as a preset battle mage. You can, down here, change which preset she is, or build a preset above by customizing it. The Enchanter, when I looked through, so you'll notice there's, as we talked about before, I went through all of these, there are like 16, I think, of these different choices. Enchanter looked really good to me. First of all, it's ranged, which is good because you have to use turns to move. Like in D&D or any tabletop RPG, like you get action points and you only get a certain number per turn. And if you're having to get all the way across the floor to do a melee attack, you may be burning up a big portion of your turn. So that's something to keep in mind. So I'd like somebody who's strong in the ranged abilities. So I'm gonna actually go to the Enchanter because I like that, and I like that you've got lightning and rain, or hail and rain. So a lot of those elemental things we were talking about. Okay, so here she is. So I'm going to have her as an Enchanter. Now I want to go and change her appearance. So I'm going back up to the top menu bar across, and I'm going to check appearance. So here's where, even though she's not a custom character as such, she's customizable. So she's female. I can't change that about her, but I can definitely do some skin tone here. Let's see, I'm going to go back one. I like that one. And I can change her face. So you see there's several face options here. I didn't actually, it looks like 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so 10. So I like that one. So I'm going to take that one. And then for hairstyles, she's defaulted to 7, but we can go through, wow, go through a few and find one here. Looks like there's 7 hairstyle or 10 hairstyles also. All right, that looks good. I'll do that one. Okay, Brewer Copper. I don't even know what this is. Oh, her hair color. The names of the hair colors were throwing me. I was like, okay, so Jester is the name of a hair color. Okay. Blacksmith, Surgeon. Like, these are weird names for hair colors, but okay. Monarch, so that's kind of purplish. Blonde, we got a blonde thing going on there. White. Baker. All right, let's go with that one. Facial features, I don't think we can't really, if you'll see I'm clicking and nothing's happening because we went with this face style. We can't go in and customize the facial features. I believe in a completely custom character you could get down to, you know, things like eyebrows and, like, you know, how far the lip is jutting out and things like that. Also the same thing with the voice. We are taking this origin character and she's got a voice already. She's been voice acted, so in this low save voice, so we're not going to be able to change that. But we were able, as you see, we were able to customize her a fair bit from what she was, you know, on the front screen, and she'll stay looking like that in cutscenes and you know, throughout the game. So so there she is. So now let's just go across the rest of the bars here and just take a look at what there is. So the preset, we had chosen the Enchanter on the front page. We could change that here if we wanted to. I changed it to a fighter, Inquisitor. So you'll see when I change it, it changes the attributes underneath it. So in these tabletop style RPGs, there are certain types of attributes: strength, intelligence, constitution. There are others: finesse, wits. So which character type you choose is really going to determine which attributes that character has. Now, you can edit. I can go in here and I can say, ooh, I'd rather have, you know, go put more to the, a little off of the finesse and add it to strength, for example. But remember, if you are messing with a character that's an origin character, changing it may not be what you want to do, especially the first time out. So we could just go back and start her as a Battlemage, which was the way that she originally came, which gives her +1 to strength, intelligence, and constitution. And by +1, that means that when you have a roll or virtual roll to see how you're doing on a particular skill, you get to add that modifier to make you better at certain things. I'm going to be, you know, pretty much across the board, you know, the same on strength, intelligence, and constitution. But for example, if I went with a Conjurer here, I've changed it to Conjurer, I get +2 on the constitution. That means I'm pretty tough. And how much health I have. But on the intelligence, which is when I have a role that requires me to have book smarts, I'm only getting +1. So I may have a lot of health, but I might not be as smart with the books. And you'll see I don't have anything here as a positive modifier for anything such as the strength or the finesse, which is like your charisma, your ability to persuade people to do other things. So so we can change any or all of this, and I can see, especially if you really know what you're doing with this, you could really go crazy and just get so custom and really build your dream character here. But I don't know what I'm doing. You know, it's honest. So I'm just gonna go back to I think I'm going to just leave her as the Enchanter, kind of the way the Enchanter comes. Now let's go from attributes down to abilities. There are a lot of abilities too, and it bears Googling this and just looking at either the wiki or one of the guides that are out there to see what each one does. But you'll see that, okay, so the Hydrosophist increases all water damage ideal. So I actually want to have a +1 to that. I want to have a positive modifier to that, because if you look down on my skills, you notice I've got skills that use water. So since that's part of sort of the package that's coming with this character, it's good that I'm taking ability modifiers to increase that, right? It's sort of like any game you play, you want to maximize the things that you're already good at. Next one down, the Aerotharouge. I know I'm saying that wrong, sorry. That increases all the air damage that I deal. And then the Lore Master allows me to identify things faster. And you'll notice once you get into this game, you are picking up and looking at stuff constantly. I mean, that's like half the game, is just exploring the world and clues in the world and finding missions that way. There are some mission markers in the starting area, so you will have some indication on which way to go. But one of the things that I've read about this game is it's not like a game you would play like WoW or SWTOR, where there are clearly defined quest markers on your map and you know where to go and the map guides you, the game takes you there. No, it's not like that at all. You need to figure stuff out. You need to be paying attention to the story. When they say you've got to go rescue the prisoners or whatever, you need to keep that in mind and then go looking for prisoners. There's not going to be like a big purple arrow on your map. So just FYI. All right, so I think that's probably enough to talk about the presets, because I'm going to leave them basically as is for, I'm going to go, yeah, I decided I would do Enchanter. We'll see if that messes me up too much since it came Battlemage. I'm going to risk that. Talents. Okay, so this is another really long list. I'm scrolling down and you can see there are a ton of talents. And if you hover over each one, it tells you what they do. So if you're taking a preset character, you are going to have your talents already assigned to you, and you'll see up at the top it says available talents 0. So while it can be helpful to look through all of these, I'm not going to really get to choose anything right now. One thing, just a quick note that I wanted to make, this Pet Pal talent, it says Pet Pal enables you to talk to animals. Now that sounds kind of silly and maybe like it's just like haha, and from what I understand, it is just kind of haha, and it's sort of just for fun. However, you can get information, which this game is all about getting information from the animals, and you can only communicate with the animals if you've taken this talent. So it's been recommended in some of the guides that I've looked at that you pick this up early, because you start encountering animals in the very first room that you start in. And if you don't have this talent, they just like bark at you and at you and so forth. So, okay, so tags. Let's go back to the top. Tags. So each one of these tags is sort of a little descriptor. As I said before, this tells the game how to interact with you. It tells NPCs what kind of person they're going to perceive you as. So this top one I have hovered over, Barbarian. They call you a savage, an animal. They don't know what it's like to need to fight tooth and claw just to survive. You do. The next one, Jester. Quick with a quip and swift of song. You're an entertainer above all. I won't read the rest of it. Mystic. Cracks in reality lead you to other times and places. Some of the void, some of the gods. Noble, born to riches and luxury, you have aristocratic bearing, eloquent speech, and the finest manners. Outlaw, scholar, and soldier. Okay, these origins, because we chose an origin character, we've already got these assigned to us. If you recall in the story that we read at the very beginning, it talked about how our character is a singer and entertainer on the stage. So she is this jester. She has that tag, and that then the next one, the mystic, she's got these voices maybe from the spirit world that are talking to her, and she can communicate with them when other people can't necessarily communicate with them. So she's already been assigned these skills, and that's part of her important like character development or her story. So we can't really change those in an origin character such as we've created, but you should be aware of them. And something else that you should be aware of is that you're going to be picking up companions in this game if you play solo. And all of the origin characters that we went through before, and we actually skipped one or two of them, are going to be joining you as companions if you don't choose them as your primary character that you're playing, which I thought was kind of cool. So you're still going to get to see like Beast, that dwarf, for example, or you're going to get to see that human soldier with the complicated name. You're going to get to meet these people and interact with their story, and have some companion story with them. And they're going to have the tags that go with them, if that makes sense. So one of them, and maybe that human is going to have this soldier tag as one of his tags, and maybe the elf will have, you know, the outlaw, for example, or the noble. And what you want when you are gathering your companions in your party is to sort of be covering all of these, because the tags help you interact with the world. And so the more tags you have represented in your party, the better chance you may have of succeeding in your goals. Maybe somebody is persuasive, somebody is more can communicate with spirits, somebody is a good fighter, etc. So you just want to have balance and make sure that your party is represented by the different tags, attributes, and abilities that you find in the game. So I know that's really vague for me to say, but it's just sort of a kind of something to be thinking about as you're going through the game, and something that you might not know if you, like I, have not really played these kind of games before. Okay, and then finally up on the top bar we have instruments. And then the instruments are actually instruments, like musical instruments. And for some reason, everybody gets an instrument, and it will take the lead in the music during fights and will highlight various moments of your adventure. So you can choose the bansuri, the tambura, the oud, or the cello. And I think it will change the music for us now if we play it. I think this is what's playing now, is the bansuri, I guess. So you can, there it goes. Okay, we'll change it to the tambura. I think I have my music kind of turned down, so all we're hearing is the overlapping music. Okay, we'll take the cello. And so now I think we would pretty much be ready to go with our character. So the next thing we're going to do is listen to her origin story.